Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Story Time. Today we're going to talk about fairy tales again, but first, before we start story time, I wanted to give you a quick rundown on what's going on at the library. As you can see, Miss Allen is in the Story Tower. I'm very excited to be doing story time from the Story Tower again. We will be opening the library on Wednesday, July 1st. Now, when we open the library, we will not be having story time here. So we will still be filming story time and uploading that to our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and along with our crafts and our other activities for summer reading. We'll be open July 1st so that you can come in and get our resources or use a computer if you need to, okay? When you come in to visit us, you're going to notice that each one of us on staff is wearing a mask. We'll have gloves on and we'll have aprons on, and that's just to protect us and to protect you. So remember, when you see Miss Allen in her mask, and this is, I think, my third or fourth one I've showed you, there I am, but it's still the same Miss Allen. So I don't want you to be worried or scared when you seeing us all wearing a mask, okay? Alrighty, you ready to get started? Before stories, what do we need to do? Two little hands go clap, clap, clap. Two little feet go tap, tap, tap. Two little fists go thump, thump, thump. Two little feet go jump, jump, jump. One little child turns round and round, and one little child sits quietly down. Alrighty, so this week we've been talking about fairy tales as part of our summer story time series. And on Monday, we talked about different versions of Henny Penny and Chicken Little. Today, we're going to talk about two different versions of the Three Little Pigs. Most of you have probably already heard the Three Little Pigs and the Huffin' and the Puffin' with the big bag woof. So we're going to read this version, and then we're going to read a different version, kind of be able to check out what is the same and what is different between the Three Little Pigs. Because remember, we talked on Monday that fairy tales are stories that have been around a long, long time. And each time someone tells them, they were changed just a little bit because they didn't usually write them down. And so stories change depending on where you lived or what culture you were from. And so that is the same with Henny Penny and now with the Three Little Pigs. So this version is a brand new one at the Billings Public Library. This is Miss Allen is the first one who gets to read this. And when then I'm all done, it'll get checked in and go on hold maybe for another person. So the Three Little Pigs, illustrated by Maya Matsuka. Okay, she didn't write this version. This is the original Three Little Pigs. Once upon a time, there were three little pigs who lived in a cozy cottage on the hill. They loved to eat all the delicious food their mother made them every day. They ate so much that it wasn't long before the Three Little Pigs had grown so big that there was no room for them in the cozy cottage anymore. "I'm sorry," said their mother one morning, "but it's time you made your own way in the world." So the very next day, the Three Little Pigs left home. "Don't forget to watch out for that big bad wolf," called their mother as she waved goodbye. "He'll eat you for supper, so you'll need to build a big, fine, strong house as quickly as you can to keep him away." "Don't worry, Ma," they oinked. "We can look after ourselves." And the Three Little Pigs trotted off down the hill, each taking a different path. Brand new pages are still sticky. Wasn't long before the first little pig met a farmer pulling a cart filled with straw. "Please, may I buy some straw to build a house?" asked a little pig. "Of course," replied the farmer, "but a straw house won't be very strong." But the little pig didn't listen. Soon he was busy stacking the bundles of straw for his new house. Do you think straw is very strong? In no time at all, the house of straw was finished, and the little pig went inside for a nap. He had just shut his eyes when there was a knock on his door. It was the big bad wolf, and he was hungry. Little pig, let me in, growled the wolf. No, cried the little pig, not by the hair on my chinny chin chin. Well, then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down, laughed the wolf, and that's just what he did. He huffed, and he puffed, whoosh. Meanwhile, the second little pig was walking along the road when he saw a woodcutter piling up sticks. Please may I buy some sticks, he asked politely. I want to build a house. Of course, answered the woodcutter, but a house made of sticks will soon fall down. But the second little pig wasn't listening. He was much too busy planning his new stick home. Soon the house was finished. The little pig had just sat down to rest when there was a knock at the door. It was the big bad wolf, and he was even hungrier now. Little pig, let me in, he growled. No way, not by the hair on my chinny chin chin, cried the second little pig. Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down, cried the wolf. And that's exactly what he did. He huffed and he puffed. Meanwhile, the third little pig had met a builder. Please may I buy some of your bricks to build my house, he asked. Of course, replied the builder. A fine, strong house of bricks will last forever. The third little pig took the builder's advice. He would build the strongest house in the land. Finally, after a hard day's work, the house was finished. It had 4 strong walls of brick, a tiled roof, a sturdy wooden door, and a large fireplace with a chimney. What a fabulous house. The third little pig had just put a pot of turnips on the fire to boil when he saw his brothers running down the road, closely followed by the big bad wolf. Quick! Cried the third little pig. Hide in here! Do you think they could survive in the brick house? The wolf, who was very hungry by now, banged on the sturdy front door. Little pigs, let me in, he growled, his tummy rumbling very loudly with hunger. No way, not by the hairs on our chinny chin chins, cried the 3 little pigs. Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down, laughed the wolf. So he huffed, and he puffed, and he puffed, and he huffed. But the brick house stood firm. The wolf was furious. He climbed up onto the roof and shouted down the chimney, If I can't blow your house down, then I'll come down the chimney and gobble you up. The big bad wolf jumped and landed with a huge splash into the pot of turnips boiling in the fire below. Yow! He leaped up with a scream and ran out of the house, never to be seen from again. And the 3 little pigs lived happily ever after in their house made of bricks. All right, that's cute, right? That's a good story. So let's do a couple songs before we do our next version. So we're doing our 3 little pigs version, and then we're going to do the wolf's version. So what he says happened. But first, let's sing our song. Now, our first one goes, 5 little pigs rolling in the mud, squishy, squashy, squishy, squashy. Oh, that's sure fun. Farmer, and then we're going to say our name. So I'm going to say Alan, but if you're watching and you're Rachel or Gabe or Noah or Sam, then you're going to say your name. You ready? Farmer Alan took out 1 pig, cleaned him up. Now there's 4 pink pigs rolling in the mud. Are you ready? So first, we're going to start with 5. Are you ready? 5 pink pigs rolling in the mud. Squishy, squashy, squishy, squashy. Boy, that's fun. Farmer Alan picked out a pig, cleaned him up good, and now there are 4 little pigs rolling in the mud. Okay, ready? 4 little pigs rolling in the mud. Squishy, squashy, squishy, squashy. Boy, that feels good. Then Farmer, you say your name? Farmer Allen picked up a pig and washed him clean. Now there's only 3 pigs rolling in the mud. Alrighty. 3 pink pigs rolling in the mud. Squishy, squashy, squishy, squashy. Boy, that feels good. Then Farmer Allen picked out a pig, washed him up good. Now there are 2 little pink pigs rolling in the mud. Ready? 2 little pink pigs rolling in the mud. Squishy, squashy, squishy, squashy. Boy, that feels good. Farmer Allen picked up a pig and washed him good. Now there is 1 little pig rolling in the mud. Ready? 1 little pig rolling in the mud, rolling in the mud. Squishy, squashy, squishy, squashy. Boy, that feels good. Farmer Allen picks up a pig, washes him clean. Now there's no more pigs rolling in the mud. I bet the minute we put them down clean, they went over and rolled back in the mud again, right? Yep. The other song I want to sing with you today is This Little Piggy. But because of where the camera is, you can't see my toes. So I'm going to use my fingers. But I hope that you'll use your toes. So if you have shoes on, take your shoes off. Are you ready? I'm going to start with this one. This little piggy went to market. This little piggy stayed home. This little piggy ate roast beef. This little piggy ate none. This little piggy cried, wee, 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 all the way home. Alrighty, so our last story. We're only having 2 because they're kind of long. This one's called The True Story of the 3 Little Pigs, and it's by the wolf. A wolf wrote this story. He told it to John Sheska. You ready? The True Story of the 3 Little Pigs. Then when we're done, you'll have to tell me, do you believe the wolf or the pigs? Everybody knows the story of the 3 little pigs, or at least they think they do, but I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. Turn that so you can see. There you go. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. It's not my fault wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you're big and bad too. But like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. This is the real story. Way back in Once Upon a Time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold, and I ran out of sugar. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now this neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't too bright either. He had built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in their right mind would build a house out of straw? So of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into someone else's house, so I called, little pig, are you in? There was no answer. I was just about to go home without a cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. And that's when my nose started to itch. I felt the sneeze coming on. I huffed and I puffed and I sneezed a great sneeze. Achoo! Do you think that's what really happened? And you know what? That whole darn straw house fell down. And right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. Seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying around there in the straw, so I ate him. Think of it as just a great big cheeseburger. I was feeling a little bit better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar. So I went to the next door neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not so much. He had built his house out of sticks. I rang the bell on the stick house. Nobody answered. I called, "Mr. Pig, are you in?" He yelled back, "Go away, Wolf, you can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin chin." I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze. Achoo! And you're not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. When the dust cleared, there was a second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor, I promise. Now, you know food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open, so I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little bit better, and I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. This guy was the first and the second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family. He'd built his house out of bricks. I knocked on the brick house, but there was no answer. I called, "Mr. Pig, are you in?" And do you know what that rude little porker answered? "Get it out of here, Wolf. Don't bother me again." Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar, and he wouldn't give me even one little cup for my dear sweet old granny's birthday cake. What a pig. I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on. I huffed, and I snuffed, and I sneezed, achoo, once again. Then the third little pig yelled, "And your old granny can sit on a pin." Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, of course, I was trying to break down this little pig's door, and the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. And the rest, as they say, is history. The news reporters found out that the two little pigs I had for dinner, they figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting. So they jazzed up the story with all that huffing and puffing and blowing your house down. And they made me the big bad wolf. That's it. The real story. I was framed. But maybe you could lend me a cup of sugar? So totally two different stories, right? Because this is what the three little pigs say happened, and this is what the wolf says happens, right? I bet that happens sometimes when things go on between you and your siblings or your mom and your dad, and you believe you have one story and they have another. So that was very fun for us to read today, wasn't it? Kind of see both sides of the story. Who do you believe? Do you believe the three little pigs? Or do you believe the big bad wolf? I don't know who I believe. I mean, sometimes I think the three little probably happened the way the three little pigs say it, but sometimes people get, blamed for things they didn't do, like the big bad wolf. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Okay, well, I hope you join me next week for story time. I had lots of fun. We'll be in the story tower again next week. I can't remember what story time is next week. I guess you'll just have to check in and find out. Before we go, remember this code for summer reading. This is the same code for all of month of June. So if you visited me already this month, it's the same one. You only need to put it in once. Soar into books. One long phrase. Alrighty, guys, let's say goodbye. On my face, I have a nose. On my feet, I have 10 toes. I have 2 eyes that I can blink. And here's my head so I can think. I have a chin and very near. I have 2 ears so I can hear. Have 2 arms, I reach up high. And with my hands I wave goodbye. See you next time. Have a great day. Bye.